we should be listening more than we speak. And we know that we have so many leaders of our congregation here. And leadership is about listening and responding and making sure people are taken care of. And sometimes that's not easy. But when we listen, we can hear the inner workings of the soul asking us to respond to the challenges of our world, to the lives that we see all around us, to those who need us the most. As we join the words of the Shema, let us remember that God has called us and continues to call us each and every day to listen and to respond.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated. We continue with the V'ahavta of what God wants from us, of God's love, and our duty. Page 36, we call Gavin forward once more to lead us.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shochpecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'yisharecha Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot bachem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem. God is our God in truth. Well done, Gavin. Well done. You make us all proud, my friend. I know you do. We continue on page 40 with the words of Mi Chamocha. And it's important to know this is Parshat Bo. We're not free yet in the story of Exodus. And to be free, we still have to believe. We still have to believe that freedom is possible. And we talk about this a lot as we know that very few, 80% of Israelites never really left Egypt because they were scared of the unknown. They were scared of the challenge. And it's so reminiscent of many of us that sometimes we actually can't get out of our own way to free ourselves and to allow our fullness, our glory, what God wants from us to shine because of fear, because that we don't believe in ourselves enough to achieve what is truly possible. Mi Chamocha reminds us that everyday redemption is possible. Every day we can be free. So we join together on page 40 in the words of freedom, the Mi Chamocha.
Moshe Miriam, Ze'ilianu ve'amiru, Ze'ilianu ve'amiru. Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Lai 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 la lai la 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 lai. Lai lai la lai la 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 lai lai. Ya la lai lai la 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 lai. Ya la lai lai la 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 lai.
ונאמר כי פר אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל Yisrael. We continue on page 44 with the words of Vishamru as we remember our obligation, our command to keep Shabbat as a covenant for all time, as we understand that is what the gift of Shabbat happens to be, a celebration of life.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדתם ברית עולם. בני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדתם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדתם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדתם ברית עולם.
We turn to 46, page 46, for the Amidah. It's my honor to call forth on Rabbi Lebo to lead us in the Amidah. Well done, well done.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome.
Let's rise now on page 46 for the chanting of the Amidah.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagedol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekoneh HaKol, Vezocher Chasdevot Ve'imohot, Umevi Gula Livnei Vneihem, Ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umashio Umagin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor leolam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah rav lechoshia. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim ve'rofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umakayem emunato lishenei afar. Michamocha ba'al givurot, umidom elav. Melech memit u'mechaye, u'matzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'emar talach achayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei hakol.
You may be seated. So you hear a lot of times our thoughts and our prayers are with you. And I think about that. It's almost become cliche-like, right? It's also the passive voice in grammar. Our thoughts and our prayers are with you. No, it's a little different what we're going to do on page 253. It's not our thoughts and our prayers are with you. It's that we're praying for you. And if you run into Debbie or Helene or Athena or Kathy, Melissa, Randy, Jack, any of those people, you say, you know what, the rabbis called you by name. They spoke out your name so that even those of us who don't know them, we're praying for you and we're thinking about you. As our prayers, Mishaberach, for healing are asked, for Debbie Antonoff, Richard Barker, Jerry Barrett, Jay Bauer, Jessica Berkeley, Shelley Bitter, Marlene Kaplan, Ray Clark, Bruce Cohen, Doris Cohen, Isidore Cohen, Robert Corby, Judy Crawford, Steve Despins, Brian and Caleb Dressen, Clark Dvoskin, Mitch Earl, Beth Einig, James Florio, Kathleen Forch, Dr. Bruce Fox, Bobby Fredrickson, Lauren Friedman, Max Gans, Gloria Goldsmith, Tom Gorgone, Sally Greenstein, Esther Greenwald, Rick Hack, George Campbell Hamilton, George Hess, and Braden Hink. Helene Holzman, Blake Hull, Laura Jacoby, Al Justin, Lila Kaminer, Jackie Kapstein, Philip Kaufman, Marilyn Krasnov, Bill Lerner, Cindy Levine, Ainsley Levy, Marcia Levy, Dorothy London, Bob Luciano, Liz Lyman, Lisa Macklin, Joanne Max, Roby Max, Roberta Mabisher, Rob Maynard, Clyde McCoy, Yardain Meir Ben Yitzhak, Arnold Mayer, Bernice Bunny Meyer, Randy Mitchell, Phyllis Mix, Lowell Morrow, Greg Mosher, Mark Neumann, Arthur Newman, Joyce Newman, Richard Numeroff, and Lisa Oppenheim, Athena Pickett, Kathy Rasnick, Leon Rechtman, Lillian Reed, Jody Roberts, Janet Robson, Barry Rosenblatt, Norman Rosenblatt, Sherry Rosenblum, Patty Savage, Donald Schaefer, Betty Shaw, Robert Shaw, Brian Schneider, Eric Schuster, Lee Sexton, Nancy Shallett, Jill Shepard, Lori Sherman, Judith Siegel, Carter Silk and Carol Silver, Nicole Aronson Silverman, Valerie Simmerman, Dee Singer, Robin Singer, Debbie Singerman, Melissa Smith, Randy Suchke, and Marinelle Teasley, Jack Wayman, and Roberta Zatker. If there's anybody in your heart that you want to add to this special prayer for healing for this Mishaberach, you can simply speak their names out loud.
Mishaberach Avotenu ve'imotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah. Hu yivarech et hacholim. To those who need healing, we hold you in our thoughts with love and hope you are feeling us strengthen you and hold you up. We give you our compassion and our care. We do all we can and then we offer prayer. Mi sheberach Avotenu ve'imotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah. Hu yivarech et ha'cholim.
We take a few moments now for our own silent meditations and our own private prayers.
Oseh shalom bimromav, Hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, ve'imru, Oseh shalom bimromav, Hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, ve'imru, amen. Yailai. Shalom bimromav, Hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, ve'imru, amen.
I'm happy to start over. The airplane was trapped in a bad storm. The pilot asked the passengers if a priest was aboard who could say a prayer. No priest. Is the minister aboard? Silence. Is a rabbi aboard? No. Is anyone with a religious affiliation on board? The pilot asked. A synagogue president spoke up. Please do something religious, the pilot pleaded. So the synagogue president rose and began to take up a collection. Can I get an amen, presidents? As we continue our celebration of the 40th anniversary of Temple Kol Emeth, tonight we honor our past presidents and members of our current and past boards of trustees who have done so much for our congregation, including raising essential funds to support our mission. While it is a joke among many synagogue presidents that the most coveted leadership position you can have is the IPP, the immediate past president, many also recognize that serving a congregation as its president is a very holy task. Our families look to the synagogue not just to educate our children, but to educate them in Jewish life and offer support during challenging moments and celebrating during joyous ones. For 40 years, Kol Emeth has strived to infuse meaning and purpose into the lives of those who have called us their spiritual home. But Jewish leadership is, I laugh, is not easy. As we learn from our Torah portion this week, Bo, leadership is not just defined as being able to celebrate during the good times, but to rally the troops and manage the crises that will inevitably occur. Rabbi Erica Brown, Vice Provost for Value and Leadership at Yeshiva University, she once wrote, "Crisis makes leaders and breaks leaders." In this week's Parsha, the very mention of a plague of locusts sent Pharaoh and his courtiers into a tailspin. A swarm of locusts is not only unsightly, it can ruin crops for an entire harvest season, decimating an economy and heightening starvation. I learned from a National Geographic website that locusts in the ancient world were both feared and revered. Locusts can travel up to 81 miles in 24 hours and can stay in the air for days at a time. No wonder when Moses and Aaron threatened Pharaoh with a plague of locusts, Pharaoh was initially willing to accommodate their request to go to the desert and worship their God. So Moses and Aaron, as the text teaches, were brought back to Pharaoh, and he said to them, Go worship your God. Who are the ones, though, who will go? Moses replied, We will all go. Regardless of social station, we will go with our sons and daughters, our flocks and herds, for we must observe God's festival. Rabbi Brown continues by saying that Moses needed to explain to the head of a spiritually hierarchical Egyptian society that the nature of a Jewish worshipful community is not based on the intercession of the high priest alone, but on the calls of a child, the pleas of a young mother, the request of a farmer, and the petitions of an old woman. To deny them the right to pray is to deny them a basic human need. In that communal space filled with the diversity that travels across ages and genders, the Israelites could articulate their pain to God while in the presence of each other. Community. Jewish leadership knows that the success of our community depends on making sure we meet the needs of our entire community. Not just those in leadership, but all members of the community. As the people of the book, we know that each person's story is important. And when we lift up the voices of each and every one of our congregants, we validate them
as a unique member of our sacred family. We learn to give each other the benefit of the doubt, to love unconditionally, and to offer a hug or a kind word, because we never know what any individual might need or bring with them into our sacred place. Jewish leadership is one of the highest forms of service to our community. The relationship between the president, the rabbi, and the board is essential for the success and health of synagogue life. At Kol Emeth, even through challenging times, the sacred relationship has allowed us and sustained us to reach our 40th anniversary. And with God's help, the next 40 will see the continued growth and health of our sacred community of Temple Kol Emeth. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will. And let us say, Amen. So therefore, tonight, there will be several speakers. And to begin, I'm grateful to call upon our current president, Jody Roberts. Jody took the mantle of leadership a year and a half ago in the midst of the pandemic. I'm deeply grateful, as we all are, to her steadfast leadership, her commitment to our community, and the sacred partnership that we have in doing everything we can to make our community strong. I'm honored to call forward Jody to the pulpit to share some words with us tonight. Our president, Jody Roberts. We know you got this. Tim, we know she's got this.
Okay, since it's taken me so long to get up here, I promise my words will be brief. But thank you, Rabbi. Those are some very wonderful words, and I am very humbled and honored to be able to speak this evening. What a fantastic time it is to be a part of the board of this congregation in this year of its 40th anniversary. I have spoken previously on why this has been important to me. Those of you who heard me speak at Rosh Hashanah services, not this past year, but previous, my first year on the board, I mentioned the importance of Judaism to me and also seeing the diminishing numbers of people in my family who considered themselves Jewish. And it was very, very important to me that I did not see that happen in my own family. And I have one child, so I had some work to do. And I was asked to join the board. I saw it as an opportunity, quite honestly. It was my single motivation to keep my child engaged and for my child not to go through the type of religious school that I went through as a child. I wanted it to be fun and engaging, and I wanted to be a part of making that change. I didn't realize it would become so much more. I didn't know where it would lead. I did not know or could have expected that I would end up in this place where I am right now. It's crazy. I'm a little bit in awe of all of you that are here, and the reason that we are here is to honor those that came before us, that are board members and our past presidents that created and laid the foundation that I found myself being able to contribute to. I see myself as a link in the chain between the past and those that have created this place and made it available for us to be a part of, and also to help to ensure that it's here for tomorrow, for the next generations and for the generations to follow. And I've lost my place, sorry. Each of you, each past president, each board member, each past board member, those that are still here with us, those who have joined us this evening, and I'm so thrilled to see, have very much contributed the brick and the mortar, whether literally or metaphorically, to this place that we call our Jewish home. And I could not be more proud, and I cannot thank you enough. Because of what you have done, I have a child that is very Jewish and will continue to be Jewish and has promised me Jewish grandchildren. I really hope that will happen. Anyway, I just want to thank all of those who are here tonight, who are able to share in this celebration and this honor, for having given what you have given, for having given the time, for having made the donations, for having been here in this place, for supporting us, for mentoring me, for becoming my friends, and for providing a community I never could have imagined existed. And when I started, the spirituality may not have been what I would have thought, but I have found it. And I have found it in each of you. And I have found it in our rabbinical leadership. I have found it with Rabbi Lebo, and I have found it with Rabbi Cernovitz. And I have found it with the cantoral support that we have. And honestly, with everybody that's in this room, and for those of you that are not here tonight, thank you so much, and thank you for the honor of being able to be here and be in front of you this evening. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jody, for all you do and for your continued leadership. Our matriarch, the one who started us out, is not just a past president, but as many of you know, is the last of the founding members of Temple Kol Emeth. Jane has faithfully served our congregation. For 40 years, Jane has been steadfast in making sure our congregation stays the course, providing the Reformed Jewish voice here in Cobb County. Her vision many years ago. Jane, for all that you do, that you have done and continued to do, to support us, all of us, we are so deeply grateful for your continued leadership. Jane, it's our honor to call you forward to share some words with us as well.
Thank you, Rabbi. Is this on? Okay. Thank you, Rabbi. Was an amazing introduction, and I just realized how old I actually now am, which I had not realized before tonight. Shabbat Shalom. So the rabbi asked me to speak about leadership, and I will, but I also want to take you back a little bit in history. In 1982, a group of interfaith couples and Jews by choice met when taking a basic Judaism course at the temple with Rabbi Fred David Au. By the end of that course, 7 members of the group, 7 couples, discussed the need for a Reform congregation in Cobb County, closer to where we all lived. We met a few times, and the name Temple Kol Emeth was chosen as it meant voice of truth. And on June 11th, 1982, Temple Kol Emeth was incorporated in the state of Georgia. And to quote 2 famous men, Jerry Garcia and Stephen Lebo, what a strange trip it has been. In our first 5 years, we traveled to different locations in Cobb County for services, for religious school, for social gatherings. During those 5 years, we had 5 different presidents. That may tell you something about the job. The one president only lasted a month. But between 1982 and 1988, we got our act together enough to grow into a small but mighty community and purchase the property that we now call our Jewish home. I sat on the board in various positions since the beginning, and in 1990, then President Jack Adelman came to me and asked me to be the next president. My reaction was quick: no thanks. I was a single mom of a 6-year-old, and I had started a business, but Jack encouraged me to at least think about it, and I promised I would. I then did what I have continued to do for the next 32 years. I turned to my rabbi and wanted his advice, and that began what I consider the first component of what every good temple president and its leadership needs: a close working partnership with the rabbi. The president deals with many confidential items that the congregation and sometimes even the board cannot be aware of. The rabbi needs to have a lay leader that he or she can talk to, who will listen and provide sound counsel and maintain confidentiality. The temple president needs the same from their rabbi. Part of that partnership between the board and the rabbi is a clear understanding of the roles and responsibilities each have. The board and the rabbi must walk in unison, supporting each other in their roles. The second partnership is between the president of the congregation and their board. The work of the board is to become a community, learning and living Torah, and serving as a model for the congregation. Every aspect of the role as a temple board member has an ethical dimension, from how you make policy decisions to how we speak to one another, how we conduct business, to how we treat our staff. Also, it's important that the board in their behavior models how the temple wants our staff to treat one another. Again, it's a very sacred partnership. The final partnership is probably the most important, and that's between the board member and their family. Everyone recognizes the amount of time and energy that one takes away from their family when they join a board. The board member needs to be aware of the toll their volunteerism can take place on their family, and the family needs to be supportive of the mitzvah their family member is doing. If the family is not 100% supportive, it won't work. So we have had 22 presidents over 40 years. 11 are still members of the congregation. 2 have passed away. Each president we've had has been the right person at that time. Each president has had challenges that they have had to deal with, which they were not aware of when they agreed to become president. For example, when I was president and we were building what is now the first phase, which is the religious school preschool wing, the construction trailer was spray painted with swastikas. Rabbi Lebo and I had to navigate the response together. Rachel had to navigate the congregation through COVID with both Rabbi Lebo and Rabbi Cernovitz. When she agreed to become president, no one had heard of COVID. Your temple presidents and your temple boards have been instrumental in leading us to where we are now 40 years after our founding. After this 40th year, we will look to the presidents and the boards of the future to take us where we as a congregation want to go. And on a personal note, Jody spoke about what the congregation and the temple has meant to her. I was married here. My children were B'nai Mitzvah here and confirmed here. My grandchildren came to Friday morning services here when they were little and walked around looking at all the stained glass windows. And in every moment of our times of need as a family and our times of joy as a family, this congregation has been there to support. And that's what we are all about. When we say we are a family, we really are the good, the bad, and the ugly, but we really are a wonderful family. So I thank you all, and it's been, and as Joni said, it's been an honor to be a part of this for 40 years.
Thank you. Thank you. Last and certainly not least, when we met Rabbi for the first time, it was February of 2020. We had no idea what was going to happen, but you introduced me to the Marietta Diner, and I very much appreciate that. Rabbi Lebo was the first full-time rabbi of Temple Kol Emeth, serving our community for 36 years. He championed Reformed Jewish values in Cobb County and has been a friend and cherished colleague to me and so many here. He has influenced countless numbers of individuals, weddings, bar mitzvahs, funerals, baby namings here and in the greater community. We are all grateful and continue to be grateful for your presence and for your leadership. Rabbi Lebo, we call you forward.
Anyone who's anyone knows that numbers are important to the Jews. And anyone who's anyone knows that this temple was designed and constructed around numbers, which are special to the Jews. There's 7 pillars, there's 10 arches, there's 12 tribes, 18 windows as you look around, 36 transom windows. But you know, it occurred to me that one number which is really important is the one number that I never really talked about, that I never really mentioned while I was here. And so I was preparing my remarks tonight. All I could think of was the ruby slippers. All I could think of, ruby, the 40th anniversary is for rubies. How could I have missed the number 40? It's all over the Torah. 40 days and 40 nights for Noah's flood, 40 days and 40 nights that Moses stood on Mount Sinai, 40 years the Jews wandered in the wilderness. Everywhere you look for numbers in the Torah, you find the number 40, floating incandescent against both night and day. How could I not think of 40 as we honor our past presidents and look to the next 40 years here at Temple Kol Emeth? There's a popular song from Jefferson Airplane. They call themselves Jefferson's Starship on that album. And they said, we built this city on rock and roll. Well, friends, we built this temple on rock and roll. From an organizational meeting, as was mentioned with Jane Aronoff in 1982, to a board meeting chaired by Jody Roberts in 2023, this temple was built on music, on outreach to interfaith couples, on outreach to Jews who may have been conservative, even Orthodox growing up, outreach to all Reformed Jews, to Jews by choice, Jews of color, Jews both gay and straight. We built this temple by welcoming all into the big tent that is TKE. We built the first part of the building on that side in 1991. This larger building was built in 1997. A few years after that, we built a religious school annex, and then we refurbished an old house and named it, importantly to me, we named it the Doc Lebo Center. But even more than buildings, these past presidents that you'll see in just a moment and their boards, they helped build this temple for sacred times, from birth to death to bar and bat mitzvahs to baby namings and weddings. These past presidents helped build this temple in memory of those who perished in the Holocaust and in honor of the Jewish people who survived. We built this temple for activities sacred and mundane, from Nosh Fest to ecumenical service, from the ecumenical service to Habitat for Humanity. For 40 years, we have built this temple. And we have turned now the page for the next 40 years. As the Latin poet Lucretius used to say, et quasi cresors vital impara tradunt, which means the torch has been passed from this generation unto the next. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite back my rabbi and our senior rabbi, Rabbi Larry Cernovitz.
Continue. We are going to one by one call forward those who have served this congregation as president. And I will say that while I have served with 2 officially, with Rachel and with Jody, please God, there is another 40 years to come.
There you go.
And as we say, and I will say this as well, is that I've worked with so many of our past presidents here who have been my support and my help and my guide. So I want to thank you too for being here and being part of this transition that we didn't experience fully because I didn't expect to be at Rabbi Lebo's Opus, which was supposed to be in April before I started, which ended up in the summer because of COVID, and we were there together, and somehow Beshert meant to be. at that moment. So, Rabbi Lebo, if you would do the honor. When you hear your name, and not all these names are here, but please, when you hear your name, please stand for the moment, and then so everyone can see you and honor you for your service, and then we'll call you forward.
Ed Bose, Josh Littman of blessed memory, Larry Singer, Jerry Ritchie, Bill Butcher of blessed memory, Jack Edelman, Jane Aronoff, Michelle Koski, Rabbi Alan Friedman, David Strauss, Mel Abramovitz, Bob Gans, Richard Brenner, Matthew Stone, Brad Kacher, Dave Mayer, Andrew Lincoln, Sherry Parman, Henry Haney, Ben Singer, Rachel Barrich, and Jody Roberts.
We ask you at this time to join us on the Bima, and we also ask if you have served or are currently serving on the Board of Trustees, please join us as well for this blessing. Beautiful. We ask everyone to rise.
And yes, you were all my favorites. All of you were my favorites.
We thank you, Sherry, for that.
That's right.
So as we bless you in front of the open ark, and particularly as we see Yavat Torah, the Torah that we as a congregation wrote in 2012, inscribed with many of your hands and your hearts, we bless you with the priestly blessing. So if you would bow your heads at this time. And as a congregation, please, all who are here, feel free to raise your hands as the priest used to do. We've done this many times. Feel free to lift your hands up as well as we bless this congregation. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
You sustain and nourish us with the sacred wisdom and traditions of our people, teaching Torah to us and to our children. May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
You work alongside us to bring the light of justice and compassion to God's broken world. May God's face shine upon you, and may God always be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
You bear witness to our lives and accompany us on our journey. You help us elevate our consciousness and search in every hour for God's presence in our lives, for your dedication to our community. May God lift your hearts and grant you wholeness, fulfillment, and peace.
And we say together, Amen. Amen. Thank you, thank you. One more round of applause for all of you.
You may be seated.
As we continue with our service, we turn to page 282 for the words of Aleinu, which pray for God's continued redemption of our broken world, praying that we will help bring upon the Messianic age, where God will be one and God's name will be one. We rise together, page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגוי משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
We continue on page 285 as we read together. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Page 287.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated as we turn to page 292. Today happens to be International Holocaust Remembrance Day. And as we share in this reading on page 292, reading number 9, we remember not just the 6 million of our martyred brothers and sisters that perished in the Shoah, but the continued victims of anti-Semitism and hatred. Just this evening, at 8:13 p.m. Jerusalem time, a terrorist attacked the Ateret Avraham Synagogue in Jerusalem in the Neve Yaakov neighborhood around Shabbat services and killed 8 already as they were welcoming in Shabbat. The continued persecution and killing of Jews and others must stop. We must continue to fight hatred and anti-Semitism wherever it rears its head. And in that light, I share the words of my colleague and my friend, Rabbi Micah Greenstein. And if you know that name, he is the rabbi of Temple Israel in Memphis. And many of you know that Memphis is in chaos right now. And he shares these words, and I spoke to him today, and he asked and gave me permission to share his words with you tonight. He says, Memphis town is a tight community. Each of us who knew Tyree Nichols, from our early morning Starbucks crew to sunsets at Shelby Farms and skateboarding in Midtown, every person who met Tyree was touched by his beautiful soul. As Shabbat begins this evening, let's all pray for the peace of Memphis in tribute to Tyree, his dear parents, Rovan and Rodney, and the entire Nichols family. May genuine compassion, comfort, and the kind of change that will make Memphis the blueprint for a more just America be Tyree's eternal legacy. Page 292. In memory of those who perished in the Holocaust. We've lived in numberless towns and villages, and in too many of them we have endured cruel suffering. Some we have forgotten, others are sealed in our memory, a wound that does not heal. 100 generations of victims and martyrs, still their blood cries out from the earth. And so many at Dachau and Buchenwald and Babiyar. What can we say? What can we do together? How bear the unbearable, or accept what life has brought to our people? All who are born must die, but how shall we compare the slow passage of time with the callous slaughter of the innocent, cut off before their time? They live with faith, not all but many, and surely many died with faith in God, in life, in the goodness that even flames cannot destroy. May we find a way to the strength of that faith, that trust, that sure sense that life and soul endure beyond this body's death. They've left their lives to us. Let a million prayers rise whenever Jews worship. Let a million candles glow against the darkness of these unfinished lives. As we recall all of those who perished in the Shoah. We also recall those whose yahrzeit, whose anniversary of death fall on this Shabbat. We think of Ruth Kushner Besser, and as our custom, please rise if you are able when you hear the name of your loved one. Darrell Cooper, Irving Daniels, Ernie Frank, Janice Kimmel, Elaine Lancaster, Barry Levy, Isadora P. Mayer, Lillian Meslish, Sam Mendelson, Leo Monti, Gertrude Rasnick, Esther Reckman, Harold Rosen, Samuel Siegel, Anna Slum, Alan Stiefel, Judy Sturman, Clara Yeagerman, Isidore Yeagerman. And remember all those who died in this past year. Joseph Goldman, Cecile Wolfert-Gadelsky, Barbara Markowitz, Hal Lieberman, Michael Cohen, Fred Fine, Stacy Hill, Robert Weiss, Donnie Price, Harry Mix, Marvin Abish, Don Lamberg, Stuart Devoskin, Mel Gordon, Mark Stiller, Howie Levner, Jax Barr, Paul Graboff, Evelyn Hausman Morris, Evelyn Gross, Larry Bowman, Jack Mendel, Jonathan Koleski and Marshall Irvin of the Cobb County Sheriff's Deputy's Office, Charlene Jacoby, Barbara Wolin Kirschner, Stephanie Cooper Schulman, Francine Friedlander, Arlene Maniak, Clyde Teasley, Emily Jane Edelstein, Jeffrey Bruce Seibin, Gordon Goldsmith, Hartley Stephen Spat, David Benowitz, and Josh Yellen. If there are other names this time, please feel free to call them out. We take all those names with our own as you rise together as one community. As we remember once again the 6 million of our martyred brothers and sisters that perished in the Shoah and the Holocaust, as well as those men and women who have given their lives and continue to give their lives in defense of the state of Israel, as well as these United States. Zichronam livracha, may all of their memories be for a blessing. Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Our prayer for the dead does not mention death at all, but mentions life, and praising God for each day on this earth, and living in order to make the memory of our loved ones truly be a blessing. We join together. Yit Gadal V'yit Gadash Shmei Rabbah. Amen. Bialma Divrach Hirutei V'yamlich Malchutei B'chayechon Uvyomechon Uv'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala Uvizman Kariv V'imru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Ulalmei Olmaya Yiparach V'yishtabach V'yipa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnasei V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shmei Dekudsha Brichu Le'ela min kol birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Ta'amiran Be'alma V'imru. Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya V'chaim Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Osei Shalom Bimromav Hu Yasei Shalom Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and all who are bereaved. And let us say it together. Amen. You may be seated. As we call once again Jody Roberts Ford to share some announcements at this time.
Shabbat Shalom. It's on. All right, first I would like to say Mazel Tov to Gavin Merlin and his family on your bar mitzvah. Mazel Tov. Great evening. Great weekend. We also want to offer our gratitude to all the leaders of our temple as we mark this 40th anniversary. We absolutely know, as we have mentioned before, that we would not be here today if it weren't for the efforts of each and every one of you. From those who are here at the beginning to those who continue to work today and tomorrow, and that means for some of you that haven't been on the board, that means tomorrow. Keep that in mind. We thank you. You can see all the upcoming Shabbat services we have planned in your program. We hope to see you at many of them. The band is working hard to prepare for 80s Shabbat on February 3rd. Oh, that's going to be a lot of fun. That's my decade. Our Kefti teens have been hard at work compiling the service they will lead on February 10th. We hope you join us for that. Now for the parents, break out your best 80s gear. That's it. From tracksuits to 80s prom and those torn sweatshirts and all that fluorescent and the big hair. We're turning back the clock for a night that will be totally rad. Join us on Saturday, February 4th at 7 p.m. for a night of dancing, prizes, desserts, and themed libations. Ooh, that's going to be fun. The party is open to high school age kids and up. Non-alcoholic options will be available, of course. Buy your tickets now at kolemeth.net. The TKE Center for Jewish Life and Learning has just started our next adult education series, which will focus on mindfulness and Judaism. Join Rabbi Cernovitz on select Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. The next class meets on Sunday, February 5th. See Cindy if you're interested. Cindy, who is right behind me, waving her hand. Check out the Takia in your inbox each Tuesday morning and visit kolemeth.net for more details on all of our upcoming events. There are quite a few of them. And I would invite you to join us for the Oneg in our social hall, sponsored by the Merlin family. Thank you so much, in honor of Gavin's bar mitzvah. And Vivian, did you have a couple of words you would like to say? She's going to make it fast.
A friend of a friend, no, I'll slow down. A friend of a friend is a collection of the monthly personal items that are now being collected near the gift shop. So every time you go shopping, be sure to go into that aisle. Well, you women can do that. And purchase some of these items to be collected. They're given to women in shelters and the such, and Must Ministries. Passover is just around the corner. Do you need a Seder plate or a gift for someone, or possibly a gift for yourself? Go to our gift shop. There are so many new and beautiful things. So when you think of gifts, think of our gift shop. Thank you.
It is now my pleasure to call Gavin to join me up here, that I may say a few words and make a presentation. Go, Gavin. Go, Gavin. Hi. First of all, Gavin, I want to congratulate you on becoming a bar mitzvah and making your way to this place in this time. I know that you're a student at Dodgen. I know you're interested in sports. And one of the things that really piqued my interest as I was reading the Mitzvahs and Memories, was there was a word in there that was used to describe you and what your parents are so proud to see you become. Hilarious, I think, was a word that was used. And I figured he must have a really good sense of humor, because his sports teams, while they do include the Braves, but they also include the Falcons too. So he must have a really good sense of humor. Don't worry, Falcons are one of my favorite teams too. It's all good. It's all good. But we know that your parents are very, very proud of you, and I think getting towards a little bit of relief too, I would imagine, that you have made it to this day and this time. And I know this community is thrilled that you're becoming a bar mitzvah tomorrow. So good luck to you. You will do a great job. We are very proud of that. And in that spirit of things, I would like to make a presentation. I have a little stack of gifts here for you. I hope that you will remember that this is not the last day that you should think about your Judaism once you become a bar mitzvah. Find your touch points in the days and the weeks and months and years ahead, whatever that may be. And that could be, another famous Jewish comedian. I don't know. But you will have these items here to reflect upon your time with us at Temple Kol Emeth, and remember that this is your Jewish home, okay? So on behalf of the Board of Trustees, on behalf of the staff and the clergy, on behalf of WRJ and Men's Club, And on behalf of the entire congregation, I present to you these gifts now. May you have a wonderful day tomorrow, an excellent weekend, and continue to come back to see us. Mazel tov.
Here you go, babe. Whoa, it's a stack.
I got it.
Okay.
Thank you, Jody. Jody, I want to let you know that Gavin, before the service, came up to me, knowing that we were honoring our leaders, and said, you know, Rabbi, I'd like to serve on the board. You know, he had a fight with his parents. I know, Scott and Amy, I know you want to as well, but I know that Gavin really had the desire. So, Gavin, you can speak to Jody afterwards, and we'll figure out how to get you involved. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Jody. And Gavin, truly, though, we're very, very proud of you. And I know on behalf of your parents, Amy and Scott, and this incredible group that has gathered, that have come in, and those who will be here tomorrow, we want to wish you a mazel tov. And we are so looking forward to not only tomorrow, but for the days and years to come. We know you're going to continue to be that incredible young man and grow up and continue to make a difference. And I know that we'll see you in our post-bar mitzvah program, leading up to confirmation, looking forward to that big day for you, Gavin. So congratulations and mazel tov. I'll continue to embarrass you if you keep doing that. So just keep that up, buddy. All right. So with that, we are going to close out with Kiddush and Motzi. Gavin, do you want to join us? Come on up and join us for Kiddush and Motzi. And any of our kids who want to join us, come on up as well. I was waiting for the front row. Come on. So we continue with Kiddush that you can find in the front of your prayer books. If you want to join us and follow along with us, everybody's waiting for Challah, aren't you? You can turn to page 5 for Kiddush. Is it wine? You'll have to find out, right? I know you guys have Manischewitz for him, so it's all good. Only the best. Ready? Hold up. Hold it up. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pori hagafen. Amen. L'chaim, l'chaim. Yeah, it means drink it. Oh, it's grape juice. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Thanks, God. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Go ahead. Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. B'teavon, enjoy. Scotty, we'll talk afterwards. So, we want to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom. Please feel free to join us in the social hall for our Oneg Shabbat refreshments for all. And once again, we want to wish Amy and Scott a Mazel Tov on Gavin's Bar Mitzvah. And all of our presidents and board members, thank you for your service. And for the Methodist Church, thank you guys for being with us tonight. I know we're going to stick around for a little bit. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Here you go, Gav. Yeah, you can finish it up. Yeah. Yeah, go finish it up.